Hello everyone, tonight on our program, Association of Licensed Buying Companies discounts claims of non-payment of monies owed cocoa farmers. There's more to this story as Joy Business learns LBCs are currently financially constrained amid the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on their supply chain.
The negative effects of COVID-19 pandemic on international trade and the external marketing of cocoa. The closure of harbors and its consequent delay in shipments. The substantial drop in the price of cocoa beans.
And the list goes on. Also coming up, ongoing 5-kilometer sea defense project at Ningo Pram in the Greater Accra region expected to cost 309.
Sea erosion, and government will continue to invest funds into sea defense projects.
And only 4 months in operation, food tech startup JoyNews targets to make its app available in almost every office in Accra by end of year. That is on the Joy Business van tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. Details coming up right after this break. Right, cocoa having around $2,399 a ton, as you saw from my update on the commodity market. We begin with cocoa because the Association of Licensed Cocoa Buying Companies says claims of non-payment of cocoa farmers are untrue. Addressing the media today, the association claimed that over 1 million cocoa farmers have all been settled their claims during the main crop season. Let's hear from the Public Affairs Manager of licensed buying firm Econ, Victor Jar.
Over the years, licensed cocoa buying companies have had to find money on their own to supplement what Cocoa Board grants for purchasing of cocoa. The process has been...
The main crop season has ended. There may be pockets, and I want that to be underlined, pockets of non-payment, which will be very, very insignificant, because so far, we have paid almost every farmer that we have bought cocoa from in the main crop season, especially most of the companies. The reason why I said there may be pockets is that we have close to 100 each farmer they bought cocoa from. But the underlying factor, which I want to emphasize, is that main crop cocoa, we have paid everybody. We have paid every farmer. So any farmer who claims that his or her main crop cocoa purchase is still outstanding, as have been addressed by the president, should come up. Because we have reporting, very well elaborate reporting lines in our businesses. And it has been stated already. It starts from the farm gate. The farm gate is the farmer who is producing the cocoa. The farmer delivers to PC, or whichever name that is given by our PC. But the PC works for us. There may be issues, maybe that farmer, somebody said already that certain times farmers take loans or what is from their PCs.
Meanwhile, President of the Association of LBCs, Francis Ajiben, has revealed the global impact of COVID-19 pandemic on supply chains has badly impacted the finances of financing of licensed buying companies in the country. Let's hear his thoughts.
Over the years, licensed cocoa buying companies have had to find money on their own to supplement what Cocoa Board grants for purchasing of cocoa. The process has been that LBCs buy cocoa from farmers, deliver at Cocoa Board's designated warehouses at the 3 locations mentioned above for reimbursement. In the course of the season, the negative effects of COVID-19 pandemic on international trade and the external marketing of cocoa, the closure of harbors and its consequent delay in shipments, the substantial drop in the price of cocoa beans on the international market within the year, arising from the adverse effect of COVID-19 pandemic, the closure of many airports, hotels, and confectionery outlets where chocolates and other cocoa products are highly patronized. Ladies and gentlemen, these notwithstanding, members of Licobac have paid for cocoa duly received from our farmers. We, however, admit that in some instances, due to the time lag between the receipt of funds after raising or submission of invoice and onward transfer to the district and village levels, there are some delays in monies reaching farmers.
Well, away from that, the ongoing 5-kilometer sea defense project at Ningo Pram in the Greater Accra region is expected to local economy. Nicholas Brown has more in the following report.
The Minister of Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, says government is committed to providing funds for the construction of sea defense projects in the country. According to him, the protection of local communities against tidal waves is a top priority for the government to enable economic development of the communities. The minister gave this assurance when he inspected the progress of work at the Ningo Pram and Dansuma sea defense projects.
I've seen very destructive activities at the coastline across the coastal communities of the country. Sea defense project is such that as you build new ones, then the pressure moves from the existing ones to new areas. And that is why we see this devastation. Government is very committed towards the protection of our coastal communities against tidal waves and sea erosion. And government will continue to invest funds into sea defense projects.
Meanwhile, project manager engineer Kwesi Sapon Osei tells Joy Business that the entire project, which is about 50% complete, will be fully completed by the end of the year, subject to availability of funds.
As we have said already, currently we have done about 50% of the work. 50% of the work. That currently very much within the contract sum. So the other requests that have been received, you heard the fishermen talking about dredging of the Janley Lagoon and things like that. That can easily be accommodated. We are thinking that in the next week or two, we'll bring proposals to accommodate the dredging of the Janley Lagoon.
However, Paramount Chief of the Pram traditional area, Nene Tete Wakade III, appealed to the minister to dredge the sea sand entering the lagoon as fisher folks along the banks of the sea are losing their livelihoods.
But first of all, the Pram too, we are having the same problem over there as Ningo people to the same area. Because when you look at Ningo, some of the places is very bad. Right now, they have done Pram. Going to, they are done Ningo. Going to Pram, you see the water is descending into Pram's town. Even the last time the heavy rain is very bad in Pram. So we are pleading and begging the president that he should extend the 5 kilometers ahead for us so that we can pass through this condition.
From Ningo Pram to Dansuman, the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West constituency and Minister of Communication and Digitalization, Esla Owusu Ekuf, told journalists that there is an urgent need for the completion of the Dansuma Sea Defense Project as citizens of Akwetema.
Where the Sea Defense Project was done, they have been protected. But it was as if half the work was done And so once the side was protected, the unprotected portion of the beach bore the full brunt of the force of the waves. And so lots and lots of properties, as the director said, have already been destroyed. And I sincerely hope that, having seen the scale of the destruction for yourselves now, that urgent action will be taken to complete the stretch up to the lagoon.
Indigents did not miss the opportunity to vent their anger at government and the local authorities present.
And welcome back. Now, only 4 months in operation, food tech startup Oyeni is targeting to be in almost every office by the end of the year. Oyeni makes it easier for professionals, especially to order breakfast through an app on their smartphones. Now, it's saving the user the headache of deciding what to eat in the morning. CEO Efe Thais Pines is on the Joy Business Van tonight. Oyeni, that's asking you in the Ghanaian local language, Ga, if you've eaten. Good question to ask, especially in the mornings when deciding on what to eat or where to eat is a headache, especially if you are a professional. Efe Thais Pines was in the same situation.
You know, professionals are always busy running around trying to get work done. In the morning, it's really hard to think about breakfast or food to say. So you get to the office and, okay, when I get to the office, I'll get something to eat. The first thing you start to check when you get to the office is open your laptop to see the workload you have, checking your files and all that. By the time you realize it's 10, now you start to feel hungry and like, okay, so where can I get food? Now you start looking for food around which you can't easily find.
The idea for food tech startup Oyeni was birthed.
So at the time the idea was birthed, there was no local kind of business running at the time. So there were vendors, you could call in and order for them to give it to a dispatcher to bring to you. But to make it more convenient, that is where the idea came that, okay, so why don't you put it on a smartphone? How do you put it on a smartphone? Build an app and put everything on there so that people are able to access it.
Oyeni didn't start operating until a well-thought-out production process was developed. Ephraim takes us to the kitchen where the breakfast meals are prepared.
Typically, production starts 2 a.m., which entails prepping all the ingredients and making sure that it meets a certain quality standard. before the cooking itself starts. After that, Catherine, what are you working on today?
I'm working on the oatmeal right now. So I'm in the process of foiling it so that I prevent the heat from the food from going out.
What caught our attention is how the ONE breakfast is packaged.
Looking at the target group that we sell to or we are doing business with, there are people who are very busy in their offices and all that. So we needed a packaging concept that would sit so firmly on their desk and also provide convenience for them to move around. Usually when you go to offices, people don't sit down eating breakfast, they want to move around. So we provided something that could sit firmly on the table and also easily movable. You can hold it in your hand and move. So we did the what we call the sit or the holder for the cup to go in. So if this is sitting on your desk, it will be very difficult for the food to spill. And also it gives you the convenience of holding and then moving around as you eat. And also it gives a firmer grip of the food without you getting bent because the food is warm.
Ephraim tells us more and more professionals are getting interested in the idea of ordering their meals with the OYNE app.
So when you go on Play Store and you search OYNE, which is OYENII, it pops up, you download. And then the first thing that comes is that you get to see your food, what we call the main meal. You see a number of them. So based on what you want to eat, you pick it. Interestingly, there's a bit of description, some summarized description of the food. So you even get to see that ekwekbemi is made from corn boiled with herbs, rich in vitamin A, C, B, C, and calcium. So maybe you are someone who take the diet seriously. You're able to read through all these.
You pre-order the meal you want and the accompaniments based on your budget.
People who interface with the app are really excited that there is something of this nature that has been built locally and being managed and grown locally. The excitement is that, you know, most of the food we sell are foods that we were so used to when we were kids. The oblayo, the SHSDs, we call it rocks. There's this nostalgic feeling that comes when they see the app and they're like, oh, yes, I have rocks, I have ekwekbemi.
Within 4 months, OYNE has made inroads, but Ephraim knows there's still more work to be done to get more professionals used to the idea of planning their breakfast meals.
People are now trying to adapt to the kind of service we are rendering, where you have to plan your meal, and this is very, very important. We are all guilty of this. We don't plan our meal. We plan our day without planning the meal. Food is supposed to be taken like the way we take medicine.
With that in mind, OYNE's immediate target is to be in almost every office in Accra. And as Ephraim hints, it is not going to be just breakfast in future.
OYNE is here to take care of the entire, the food portfolio for each and every one. So it's not just a breakfast app, it's a food app. Now we are starting with breakfast, reason being that it's the most essential meal of the day. And people skip it. So we are trying to get Ghana to be healthy. And then we move on to lunch, we move on to dinner. We'll take it as and when. So we have a comprehensive plan for the food portfolio, but we take it one step at a time.
Tonight, thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwab. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow.